Hello, this is Harney from Digital Logic with another episode of Under the Macro. Today we're going to be looking at the Cinegears digital lens wireless control system. This particular unit can support up to 6 motors for the purpose of stereo type work, where you'll have 2 lenses and then you're controlling iris, focus and zoom. The Cinegears digital wireless lens control system is actually so easy to use and set up that the entire configuration page of the manual is just printed on the back. Basic instructions are etched in on the back of the controller, and really that's all you need on set. Before I start, the kit came to us in really every component ready to go. It had multiple different teeth and various pitches, so there was 0.8, 0.6, 1.0 and different teeths in that as well. It also had various different magnetized clip-on beveled marking rings. There was the bevel type and also the more traditional type flat one as well. There was a couple of different types of brackets. There was the extended brackets to give you longer reach and really get around the barrels, and the standard ones as well, which are the ones we're using at the moment. We've got a Canon 15.5 to 47mm, which has the PL mount, which was done by Duclos lenses, and then all the cables basically that came with the system and the receiver, everything ready to go to set it up and run. What we also noticed straight out of the box is how well this unit is built. It's quite a sturdy unit. It's all CNC aluminium machined. Seems to be built quite well, and same as the motors. The motors aren't plastic, they're metal, and actually the standard gearings, the 0.8s that come with the motors, are metal as well, steel. So we'll go through that process. So the first thing we did with the digital system, you can automatically set the start and stop limits without having to manually set the limits of the lens. Traditionally in analog systems you had to manually set the min and max positions of the range that you're covering. With this sort of system, it's all automatic. So when we turn it on, you can see at the moment there's a red light there. I'll turn this unit on. It's going green. It's got the connection. To pair it's quite easily. This has already been paired, but if it wasn't paired, all you would do is press the set button and the power button, which is a blue anodized button. Hold that in for 3 seconds, and then the units would pair, and then you'd press this would go from a red to a green. This would still normally be red. You'd hold the code button and then it would look for the pairing. They would pair and that would go green. When they're both green, they're both connected and they're ready to go. First thing that you do once you get this sort of system out of the box and wire it all up, install the motors, put the iris support brackets and mount it all up, run all the cables into the receiver, power the receiver. We're powering it via a D-tap cable from this battery. First thing you want to do with a digital system is do the automatic calibration, because it's so easy to do. You do have an option to do each axis manually. You can also have an option to remap the range if you don't want to use the entire range, and we'll go through that later. But let's just say we're going to do an automatic calibration. What I'm going to do is press and hold the set button and then press the all button down here and hold them for 3 seconds, and you should see all these run through the max and min points and then stop and then go back to the center. So I'll hold those 2 down. You can see the whole 3 motors. They're basically going to the maximum, minimum and coming back. So it's done the iris, zoom, and there's the focus. And it's come back to the middle. So they're all done. So we're ready to go, and you can just see by if I turn the focus, if I do the iris, you see the iris there, and then there's the zoom. And what you can do also with this system, you've got along the top here 3 dials in 3 different colours, and they're basically to set the speed. The speed is not used when you're manually operating these things, because obviously you control how fast you do the movement will then correspond to the speed of the lenses. But these are for the presets. You've got 4 presets that you can set. So basically on the control box on the LCD screen you'll see these values, and it's basically telling you the range. So it's 71 on the iris. If I go all the way down, there's 0. Go all the way up, I'm at 100. So if I was to go down to, say, the bottom on both of these and hold the A button, it will basically set a point, and you'll see the lights will flash for a second and go away. I've just set A to position these 2 here, and wherever the focus was. So it's recording all those three. If I then move these up, say part way, turn this a little bit, and then hold the B button there, the lights will flash for a second and go away. It's just set the next button, next position of all those three: iris, zoom, and focus. I'll move it up again. I'm going to hold C now. If I set now C, hold for a second and let go. I've set that, and I'll go all the way to the top, for example. Move this along and then press the D for a second. It's going to flash and go away. I've just set those 4 markers, and the speeds now will work in terms of the effect of those dials and positions they're at. So if I was to say press A, it's going to really drop all these down. At the moment I'll put all the speeds, say, to minimum, just so you can see how slow that is. So the 3 dials here are for focus, zoom, and iris. If I press A, you'll see how slow all those lenses are working. See the screen there, and that's how slow it's moving those movements, and get all the way to the point. Quite slow. Maybe I shouldn't have gone so slow, but here we are, we're almost there. Now if I bring that, say, halfway, I'm going to bring them halfway, and then I'm going to press B. So I'm going to move it short. This, you can see how much quicker that is. If I go to C, there it is. I'll go back to A, and that's half the speed. If I was to go, say, to max, this is the fastest that it's going to show. You'll see how quick this will happen. A, B, C, D. So the good thing about having the 3 dials is that you can independently, obviously the throw of each axis here is going to vary. As you can see, the iris is only got a throw of a distance, a really short distance, so you want to be able to control that speed. The iris doesn't need to be nowhere near that quick, so if I do that, say 25% roughly, and then I move that for the iris, I'll also move them both halfway, and now move from one extreme to the other. You can see the iris is a gradual iris shift there, and so it's quite handy having the individual axes and be able to control the speeds. So that's only for that, as I said to you. You've obviously got the choice also to do it manually. At the moment we're on A. Where are we at? Get rid of that. So now I'm out of that preset because that light was on before. Now I can control it manually. So if I go back to B, I'm in preset B. You can see that light's still on at B. It's the position I'm holding. If I try to turn this dial, it's not allowing me to because it's in the preset mode. If I go to A, press it again, go out of it, and now you've got control of the lens manually as you normally would, and controlling your speed by how quickly you move it. So in summary, we've just gone through the Cinegears multi-axis wireless lens control system. What we've discussed is basically how to connect it all up, how simple it is, and how to auto-calibrate it. Basically by pressing 2 buttons, it goes through and auto-calibrates the limits, and then you're ready to use. We've also discussed the preset options where you can preset marks, and by pressing your 4 options for 4 presets, and it records and stores iris, zoom, and focus positions in those buttons, and then you can swap between those positions, and you also have the ability to set the speeds of each of those axes, whether it's focus, zoom, or iris. We also discussed the ability to turn this light on, working in dark places. It's quite handy. We talked about the inbuilt battery and the way you charge it via the USB port there. You've also got the option that comes in the kit where if you don't want to use wireless, you can connect it through a hard cable into the back of the receiver, which can be handy if you're on set and something goes wrong or there's a lot of interference in that local area and you still need to use it, and you're able to get away with connecting a cable. This one, like I said, you has also options to start and stop ARRI, Red, Canon. At the moment we're running the cable in there for the ARRI, so if I hit record there, you'll see the record light come on. There it is there, it's recording. Records on there, press it again, stop. So really good, really reliable. We've had it on a job all day. It's worked fantastic, and price is just amazing for what it is. So currently we have both systems, the single and the multi-axis, in rentals and sales. To give you an idea, the single axis kit complete with motor, cable and a case is just over the $2,000 mark Australian, and for the multi-axis system, which is the one that we've just gone through today, you can buy one of those for just under the $4,000 mark, again with the motors, 3 motors, the case, the cables and all the various different gears, pitch gears that come in the system. So that's really all there is to it. We will try to do a video next week of Under the Macro, focusing more on the single axis control system. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.